This is an audio recording that is fixed end to end. You can play it as many times as you want and it will sound the same, excluding differences introduced by the playback machine, such as equalization settings in the car stereo. My brother and I played a lot of recordings, mostly 90s hip-hop, while we played video games as kids. Actually, I watched and listened a lot more than I played. The sounds that we enjoyed and that plagued our parents' ears were a mix of swears from rappers and the sound effects and music from game scores. I liked the way they sounded together, but I always thought that the video game music was somehow different from the hip-hop recordings. Not necessarily in style or genre, but in the methods used to produce them. For example, I could play Life's a Bitch by Nas, and AZ's featured verse would play, and then Nas, and then it's over, and on to the next track. I like to DJ for my brother, actually. But I realized that when he played Zelda, the Hyrule Field theme would play for as long as he was in Hyrule Field, and it would even change to something more thrilling and ominous when he moved his character closer to enemies. In short, I realized that while my brother was hogging the N64, he was also doing a form of DJing himself. Game scoring is what I call the act of composing music for and through gaming. Gamers have a hand in producing the sounds programmed in a game, and there is great potential for this relationship. It's an activity that looks a lot different from previous modes of composition, and needless to say, gaming is a huge vector in the culture industry right now. My job right now is to not only keep DJing, but to vocalize the importance of this unique type of music composition, especially to musicians, because I think it is inspiring to do something that is still quite new in music history. I think that a lot of gamers feel this difference intuitively, but they don't need to think about it too much. Musicians and composers, on the other hand, need to reorient themselves almost completely in the face of these changes. They need to collaborate more with programmers, because game scoring is essentially software programming. In the context of musicology and music history, game scoring can also be called a variant of what is known as aleatoric composition. Aleatoric composition is any composition that involves chance operations and/or a degree of performer freedom. Actually, Mozart is rumored to have dabbled in this type of composition by making musical dice games, where the order of musical sections is triggered by rolls of a die. Free jazz is another example of aleatoric composition. Never before, however, has this type of composition been so present in our daily lives, as it is in game scoring, and that's what I've chosen to study. The number of video game companies in Canada is growing at an exponential rate, and they need game scorers and programmers who are aware of the aesthetic possibilities for video game music. I am lucky enough to live in a country where I can research music that is very close to me, and I wish to tell my story of that connection. My name is Mackenzie Enns. I'm a PhD candidate in musicology at Western University, and I thank you for considering my submission to SSHRC Storytellers.